Okay, hold on a minute. Did they change anything in the specs whatsoever? No, swing way. Oh, it's 1 point stiffer. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Gladiators Drive. My name is Grisha and today we're reviewing the Head Radical MP 2025 with the implementation of Exotic 2.0. And yes, although there aren't any major changes in terms of the specs, the main thing is that it has the Exotic 2.0 in the throat and in the grip, which should really improve the comfort and the feel of the racket, but I guess we'll see that in the review. As of right now, what I can say for sure is that Head have been absolutely killing it with the recent paint jobs of all of the rackets in their lineups, and especially this new Head Radical with this neon orange. I'm absolutely loving it. Even this Babolat XL blue string is not managing to ruin the combination, but yeah, I guess paint job is not the most important thing in a racket, so yeah, without further ado, check out the specs. The Radical lineup of rackets has always been like a forbidden fruit for me. Like, I've always liked the design of all of the Radicals, and on paper the specs of the racket seem to absolutely perfectly match my playing style and my game. However, with the previous generation Radicals, and I'm talking like way back, like pre-Exotic Radicals, anytime I tried to play test them and see if I could potentially make the switch, I would feel like the feel, the stability, the power, the spin, the control, everything was perfect except for the time that the ball spent on the string pad. Like anytime I'd hit the ball, it seemed like I was just poof, and I had no time to react. Like the ball would just bounce off the racket as if it was like a wall, and I couldn't do anything with it. And every time I'd say, okay, maybe it's just not the racket for me. So then when the Exotic Radicals came out and I realized that the only problem that I had with the racket was solved, it seemed like it was time to switch to the Radicals. But at that time when the Exotic Radicals came out, I was already way too closely and deeply involved with my favorite Head Gravity Pro that it made no sense for me to switch rackets at that time. And now they come up with this beautiful paint job and even more exotic in the racket, and honestly I'm very excited to try out the Radical Pro, but this MP is already a very close call. Let's start with the shot-by-shot analysis though, starting with hey, let's do serve. The implementation of Exotic has benefited this racket a lot, and now with the Exotic 2.0, it's even more noticeable. You get more stability, and stability, especially on the serve, is what gives me confidence. And confidence, like I always like to say, is the most important thing when it comes to tennis in general, and therefore the serve. I'm able to shoot down the tee flat missiles without a second thought, and that's what matters the most to me in a serve. The kicks and serves perform pretty well as well because it's a 16x19 string pattern, so you can kind of spin the ball and it does it pretty well. But of course the 98-inch head size doesn't exactly help with the spin, but it's definitely something that I'm willing to sacrifice in favor of stability and feel. Because I have to say it's way easier to serve a kick serve or a wide slice serve with this thing than with my favorite Head Gravity Pro, and you know, I still play with that racket. Onto the ground strokes now, and this might be one of the very few rackets that performs equally well on the forehands as it does on the backhands. And matter of fact, I feel like the best word that describes this racket is balanced, because it doesn't shine in any specific aspect, but it just does everything equally very well. But yeah, forehand, since this is not exactly what you would call a very head-heavy racket, you do have to put the power into the ball yourself. And even though this is an MP and a 16x19, the power is not as you would expect from an MP or a 16x19 racket from other lineups or other brands. The power is meant to be put by the player. But with that less head-heavy weight distribution, you get more control, and thanks to the Exotic implementation, you don't really lose much on the stability, so you kind of get the best of both worlds. You can play a flat aggressive game, or a spinny defensive game, or a spinny aggressive game, or a flat defense. Wait, flat defensive doesn't exist. No, actually wait, there's Medvedev. It does exist.
see.
But yes, it's a very versatile racket that you can do pretty much anything with. It's super easy to rally with it, and the plush feel on impact with the ball just makes you addicted to playing forehands. The racket injects confidence into you as long as you hit the sweet spot. And that's something that I really like about the Radical lineup of rackets, is that the sweet spot is bigger than with the predecessor, but it's not so big to a point where you can just irresponsibly swing the racket wherever and the ball will land in, because that's something that is not exactly good. Meaning the racket really rewards good technique and makes you kind of move and get to the ball properly and not ruin your technique, but without making it so hard to hit the sweet spot where nothing feels right, all of the shots feel dirty, you don't feel like you're hitting the racket head and you just want to quit tennis, and that's a pretty good balance. By the way, Glads, don't forget that if you want to buy this racket or anything else tennis related, the link to get that anything tennis related or this racket, like always, is going to be down in the description below, together with our exclusive discount code, and that's just one of the best ways to support this channel. And while you're at it, if you're already exiting the video and thinking about buying this racket, you might as well, hit that like button if you're enjoying this video, and maybe even subscribe and hit the bell to not miss any of the future uploads. When it comes to the backhands, the situation is quite similar. You can just flat it out or play with a lot of top spin, playing deep or opening wide angles, and everything will work. For me, I was lacking a little bit of weight to penetrate through the ball a little easier, and that's exactly why I'm excited to play it as the pro version of the Radical. But honestly, me and the weight when it comes to the backhand, I'm just very peaky and weird, because I play with a Head Gravity Pro that weighs like 330 grams. So I guess, playing with a racket that weighs 30 grams less than the one you're used to, you're probably going to notice a little bit lack of weight. But for most of you Glads watching this video right now, 300 grams is probably going to be the right amount, and if it's not enough, you can always add with a little bit of lead. But here you can actually feel how the exotic and the variable beam width is actually holding the ball on the string pad, giving you enough time to think and to process what you want to do with the ball. Play flat, play with topspin, directed, and that's what I really like about the new exotic Radicals. However, you gotta keep in mind that although this racket is softer than it used to be, and the ball does spend more time on the string bed than with the previous versions of the Radical, it's still not exactly what you would call a soft racket by any means. And the even Head themselves have rackets that are softer and with better pocketing in their lineup, if that's something that you're looking for. For me, the pocketing with this racket and the softness of this racket is pretty much right spot on though. Volleys were good. I wouldn't necessarily say that it's a racket for double specific players, because that sweet spot can sometimes betray you, although the racket itself is really maneuverable because of the smaller head size and the weight distribution and the balance. So if you'd like to go to the net occasionally and sometimes do serve and volleys, this is going to be all you need, but it might not be the perfect choice if you're a double specific player. So who is this racket for then? Well, it's for someone who is looking for, you guessed it, a very versatile racket. Kind of like the Head Speed MP, it's a versatile racket that is leaning towards power. The Radical MP is a versatile racket that is leaning towards control. So it might not be the perfect choice for those of you who like to grind in the baseline, playing with deep topspin and just, tiring your opponent, because this is not exactly the racket that gives you the best potential for spin and the best potential for power. But if you're an all-court player, if you like to sometimes go up to the net, do serves and volleys, do play aggressive and play flat, do variable shots, you open an angle there, play down the line flat over here, this might be a very good racket to consider. And now, while you Glads are checking out the grades and laughing at just how balanced this racket is in every single way possible, even in terms of grades, I will just wait for you while you do it. No rush. I don't really have to go anywhere. I have nothing to do really. And I could actually remind you that we also have an Instagram page that I've been posting quite a bit of content on. It's Gladiators Tribe, at Gladiators Tribe, if you're interested. But yeah, I think that's enough. I'm hoping that you looked at the grades for long enough. If you didn't, feel free to just pause it and check it out, maybe compare it to some other rackets. But for now, that's it from me for today. I really hope that you Glads have enjoyed this video. Like always, my name is Grisha, you're watching Gladiators Tribe, and I will see you Glads in the next one. Bye-bye.